Welcome back again to our lesson about English grammar. I like to tell you that from now on, from this lesson, um, the grammar that we're going to study is going to be in the advanced level. We're done with the beginners and the intermediate. We're now in the advanced level of grammar, and I hope that you are still finding time to study and learn our lessons. I hope that you are still keeping that motivation despite of the challenges of patience. Now we are in the adjective clause. It's again about phrases and clauses. About adjective oftentimes begin with either a noun or a pronoun. So it tells about who, that, whose, which, or whose. And these exercises that you are undergoing are designed to enforce or reinforce the principles of grammar. I'll be underlining the words that, or finding the group of words that represent the adjective clause. Adjective clause, they modify the exercises here. You see here? Say this one. Okay. So this one that you are undergoing or designed. Okay. This one is an adjective clause because it modifies the word exercises, right? So can you find going back, always remember that clauses also have their own verb or verbs, all right, within a sentence. Here in number one, we have sea travel, that is along the Bahamas, is fun and exciting. The adjective clause here is this group of words, okay, that is along the Bahamas. Notice that it modifies the subject travel or sea travel, and that the adjective clause is also it has also its own verb within the sentence. So sea travel is this a verb, and this is the subject, and this one is also a verb of that subject, that. Number two, the captain who is standing over there will be inspecting the cabin anytime. Okay, so who is standing over there is your adjective clause. This is your AC, and it is inserted within the sentence. So this one will be inspecting is the verb phrase here, and the subject is the captain, but you also have one, okay, inserted sentence within, that is called adjective clause. Okay, we're done with 1 and 2. Now we're in number 3. The shipments which were ordered by the client in the Philippines were removed from the deck. So here you have the which up to the Philippines. Bumangga na tayo sa verb eh. So stop na tayo there. So where ordered is the verb phrase of the adjective clause here, which is the subject. But here within the sentence we also have here the verb phrase and the subject, okay, which is independent in itself. This one is dependent, dependent. But they are called adjective clause. Why? Because they modify a noun. All right, which, who, that. Number 4, the housekeeping department, which is in charge with the cleanliness of the ship, prepare the half of an activity. It's very obvious that we have here the adjective clause, the verb and the subject. Here you have the verb and the subject. Okay, modifying the housekeeping department. So all adjective clause, adjectives in your parts of the speech, remember that adjectives are modifiers. Okay, bibigay ng additional meaning, ng pagbabago, changes, and definition and characteristic of a noun. Number 5, the housekeeping department, that is located in that corner. So you have here, that is located in that corner is the adjective clause. You have here the is located as your verb phrase, and that is your subject. But within the sentence you have was heard as your verb phrase and subject, housekeeping department. Okay, done with number 5. We're now in number 6. The assistant chief housekeeper that just passed by is part of the team. So I have here that just passed by. Okay, this is the verb. Okay, the subject, the adverb. So we have here the subject, the verb, and the subject. So again and again, I'm telling you that the adjective clause modifies the subject of that sentence, of that independent sentence. And within that independent sentence is a dependent sentence or dependent clause. All clauses have verbs, whether it is dependent or independent clauses. So you have here again a verb, a verb, a verb. Okay, here a verb, a verb. Okay. 7, the floor supervisor and housekeeping staff, which are actively preparing for everything, are the busiest among the departments. So you have here the which and up to the everything. You have here are preparing. Actively is your adverb and preparing is your verb, which is your subject. Okay, but notice that it's also complete. It has subject, has verb, of course. When you have a verb, you have a subject in that sentence. And actively are preparing is your verb phrase here. Actively is your adverb. But it sits within. It is located within. It modifies the word staff as part of the subject or compound subject because of the end of the sentence. And you have here the verb of that sentence are. Okay, so we're done with 6, we're done with 7. Okay, we're now in number 8. A large crowd that has gathered in the entrance is about to board the ship. So I have that has gathered in the entrance, modifying the crowd. You have here the verb phrase of that dependent clause, and you have the subject that. Okay, object of the preposition or phrase and a preposition. But here the crowd, a large crowd, this is the subject of that independent sentence, and this is the verb of that independent sentence. All right, we're done with this. So this is your adjective clause. Adjective clause. All right, so this is the adjective clause. Number 9, on the way to China, the ship was newly built from the yard, was watched and cheered. Okay, so obviously you have here, okay, after the yard. All right, so you have here ship, a subject, and was built is a adjective phrase. So you have here the adjective, here the verb phrase here. Okay, this one, yeah, this one. That was newly built from the yard. Okay, so I have the demonstrative, which is the subject, and that sits inside of the sentence again. So you have here the subject of that independent thought, and you have here was watched, cheered as your verb phrase. Okay, so this is your, from here to here is your dependent clause, which is also your adjective, okay, clause. Number 10, white, red, and blue flags. In the British, they require also another comma here, despite having the connector end. They require it there in the British rule of grammar. But in the American rule of grammar, the American English, they don't put a comma here. Okay, so if you are writing or talking or submitting a paperwork to a British guy, you have to put a comma. If you're writing it or submitting a paper to an American guy, you don't need to put a comma there. Okay, so just it's a side way, okay, of our discussion about the adjective clause. Okay, I hope you have additional knowledge there. So white, red, and blue flags, okay, which were made for the ships or ship will raise in the central port. This is your adjective clause, okay, which is also your what? Okay, this is your dependent clause. So both adjective clause and dependent clause, because it cannot stand alone. It sits within and in addition to. Here, it modifies red it modifies flags. So that's why it is an adjective clause. And here is its real verb phrase for that independent clause or independent thought. This is the subject. Subject for the dependent clause is this one, which 11. The department that is taking care of the food is busy for breakfast beer. So where is it? Very good. That is taking care of the food. You see here that demonstrative subject is taking care as your verb phrase, but this is also your dependent clause, okay, and an adjective clause. All right, but in the sentence you have is as verb and department as your subject. All right, so all of this actually that we're talking about here is, they are also called complex sentence. Complex sentence is when you are having in a sentence one dependent clause and one independent clause, or one dependent thought and one independent thought. 12. The laundry section that was working tirelessly was visited by the captain. So here we have the demonstrative that up to tirelessly. You have to stop because another verb is coming in. So this is your adjective clause, complete with subject and verb, but this is a dependent. Okay, it has to depend its thought to the independent thought, which is the laundry section. This is your subject, and this is your verb phrase. Was visited by the captain. 13. All right. The ship with red, blue, and gray colors was cruising the Atlantic Ocean. Where is it? Okay. This one with red. Okay. The ship was cruising. All right. So in this particular sentence, we do not have an adjective clause. All right. Yeah, we do not have an adjective clause. We only have the ship. Okay. Yeah. You have the was cruising as your verb phrase and subject. Okay. This is not a clause. If you get this with red, blue, and gray colors up to here, it's not a clause. Why? Because a clause needs what? A verb. There is no verb here. Number 14, the captain who is preparing for his report asked to be left alone. So this one is your, okay, adjective clause modifying the captain. Again, compare it with number 13. This one has a verb, is preparing, and a subject, and that sits in the middle or after the noun captain, and this one is the verb of that independent clause. 15. Our security team that is checking the bags of the passengers is very strict. Okay, our team, security team, and that is checking the bags of the passengers. That is your demonstrative, which serves as your subject, is checking as your verb phrase. This is the dependent clause, but also as an adjective clause modifying the subject team. This is its verb. I hope that you have learned this one. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. Wasn't able to show that to you. Again, this one, 13 doesn't have an adjective clause. Why? Because you do not have a dependent clause that has a subject and a verb. This one could be taken, but there is no subject and verb, therefore there is no adjective clause in this particular number. Compare it with this one. The captain who is preparing for his report has to be left alone. So you have the who as your subject, is preparing as your verb phrase, and this is of course a dependent clause. Our security team that is checking the bags of the passengers is very strict. So you have that the demonstrative serves as your subject. Verb phrase is checking and the bags of the passengers. So it serves as a verb phrase, a dependent clause, and an adjective clause. So ang daming tawag sa kanya, no? Pero this time, ang tawag lang sa kanya ay adjective clause. The real subject of that independent thought in that sentence or clause is subject, this team, and the verb. Sorry, a while ago I wasn't able to show you the last three, but I hope that you become now familiar with the nature of the sentence, and of course it troubles a lot of students of their English grammar when they see those combinations. But if you uh, are able to study them and become familiar with how it is, how they are located there, you get the understanding that it's just a combination of um, independent clause and dependent clause. When these two combines, we call this complex sentence. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much.